Okay, happy Thursday. Welcome. I went to North Carolina this past weekend to a conference, and the theme of the conference was Heal the Healer. The point of the conference was that we want to offer healing modalities to people who work in healthcare and healing professions. And they asked me to talk about how could you use Zen as a way to engage in self-care. And so one of the analogies that came out of that talk, I wanted to share with you tonight. So in a lot of Zen literature, we talk about the mountain and the marketplace. So the mountain is where we are right now, right? When we're in the Zen center, when we're meditating, when we're in the ideal circumstances for practice, we're on the mountain. And the mountain is where we can have enough silence and instruction and supportive Sangha members to experience ourselves as enlightened beings. And then we go down to the marketplace. And the marketplace is the world. The marketplace is where people are sharing all kinds of opinions, right? There's toxic television news stations, and the marketplace is also where we encounter all of the things that life brings, right? All of the internal challenges that we have and all of the events that mark our lives. And so the thing is that we carry the mountaintop within us. And so I wanted to sort of riff off of that idea, right? That we already have it, we carry it inside, and we can return to it when we need to. And we always need to. And so, the thing that fights against our experiencing ourselves as enlightened is the stories that we tell about ourselves and the stories that we tell about everyone else. And they're automatic, right? So, if I have an adverse life event, right? If I lose my job, if I have an argument with my wife, if I don't have enough money, if I do anything that isn't in line with the optimized version of myself that I see in my head, then I'm going to feel sad. I'm going to suffer, right? And if I have a win, I get a promotion, or I get a bonus, or a previous friend comes back into my life, right? I'm going to feel like I'm a winner. And then there's also like a version of me that is like the version of me that I use to like regulate my path through the world, right? Like, well, I'm a good son, so I'm gonna, take my dad out to dinner, or I'm gonna spend Christmas with my family, or I'm a good employee, so I'm gonna stay late every night and work really hard, right? And the problem with any of these things is not the actions, right? It's okay to work late. It's okay to spend time with your parents. It's okay to do anything that isn't creating suffering for other beings. However, the stories that we tell about it become rigid and fixed, and then we become the source of our own suffering, because we're constantly evaluating the difference between this image that we have of ourselves and the real version. And in some ways, meditation makes this worse, because when we meditate, we can then experience the authentic version, but that means we can look inside, like the ability to look inside and see who we are gets better. Our self-awareness goes up, but then what's our self-awareness in the service of, right? So if I have self-awareness, and my self-awareness is that there's some issues I need to work on, and now I just take that awareness and I compare it against the optimized, idealized version of me in my head, then now I suck even worse. Does that make sense? And so we have to abandon the project entirely, right? It's time for the story of me to end. It wasn't ever particularly helpful. The things that we worry about are often not the things that happen. The things that are most profoundly painful come out of nowhere, almost every time. The suffering we anticipate never comes, and the suffering we never saw coming just blindsides us on a random day. And so a lot of what this practice is about keeping yourself in a position where you're not playing off of the script anymore. The reason we do koan study, one of the reasons, is because, it's weird. It is scripted, like we look at this script, but the answer is unscripted, right? We leap off the page into a spontaneous response. We leap into our lives. We go up on the mountain and we practice leaping free of the constraints of story and of the rules that govern everything. We leap free of the constructs of our mind. And then we come down to the marketplace, and what's kind of cool is we can walk in the marketplace and be a person who has leapt free of all of those constructs and is just spontaneously responding to the people in front of you. Because everyone that walks in front of you is like a koan, right? They're presenting something. Everyone, every life situation is like, it's like turning a page. It's like, now I'm working on case 39, right? Well, case 39 is the barista at Starbucks. Because what do you think these texts that we work with, what are they? When you read them, it's like, someone visiting someone else, someone talking to someone else, someone meeting a lady selling rice cakes by the side of the road, someone going to talk to the lady who's selling rice cakes by the side of the road to find out if she's really got the deal or not. It's all this, like, it's not different than what we do, just going through our life. And so if we're not living out of this sort of narration of, who do I want everyone else to see me as? Who do I want to be seen as? How should I respond? What kind of person should I be? If I do this thing, it means this about me. If I do that thing, it means that about me. Like, it's just unending. Like, all of that can just go to sleep. Like, it can be silent. Like, you can just let that go. Notice those tendencies. Let them go. Come back. Be right here. And then just look. Just look at the people in front of you. You can be natural. You can just... You can abide in not knowing. I had someone, I'm in the process of changing jobs right now. And so there's like gossip about who might replace me. And so there was a person who came in today and was talking about, like, well, if it's so-and-so, then that's going to be bad because blah, 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 blah. There was this whole, like, negative tirade, right? And there was a bunch of people kind of standing around chatting with me because, that was what was going on. And so I was like, hey, are you aware that you're, like, creating a false narrative right now? Like, first of all, I mean, unless you know something I don't know, we don't know if that person's going to replace me. And if they do, we don't know whether it'll be good or bad. They were like, well, but that person did blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, so in the past, in your view, that person did a thing you don't like. Fair enough. But that doesn't mean that, like, it's an addiction clinic. Like, we're in the second chance business. Like, maybe they had new insight. Maybe they will come and be an absolute tyrant and it'll be terrible. Maybe they'll come and they'll be an absolute delight and it'll be transformational and they'll be a way better leader than I was. Like, I don't know. But, like, we can do that. Like, we can walk through our life not knowing, but being attentive to what is. And it's important because the alternative is that we're just prisoners of the extent to which we conform or fail to conform to the standard that we've invented in our head. You know, like one of the Buddhist precepts work that way, right? Like as an example, like one precept is do not speak of others' errors and faults. Right? Honor the perfection. Do not speak of others' errors, or see the perfection. Do not speak of others' errors and faults. So I just a second ago spoke of someone's errors and faults. So did I violate the precepts or not? Right? I would argue I didn't, right? Because I'm using that error as a vehicle to talk about how to avoid suffering. If on the other hand I'm like, so this person at work, so-and-so said blah, 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 and can you believe, like, oh my God, right? I mean, I'm being a little bit Valley Girl here, but so much is caught up in the intent of what we do. Not that, every week I say something that's like, that's why we sit. But that really is my job, right? Like all of this, like my job is to encourage people to do Zazen. Because if you do that, the other stuff starts taking care of itself pretty effectively. If you sit with a full heart, right? If you really pour your heart into it with great effort, and you really discipline your mind to come back, and you really discipline yourself to not judge. Because one kind of discipline is like, I will sit. But another kind of discipline is like, I will not accept myself beating myself up. Like, I will not put up with that. I try to treat my mind the way I treat people at the methadone clinic that I till tomorrow, ran. Two people want to have a fight in the parking lot. A lot of times when two people would want to fight, I would like jump between them. I'd be like, hey, usually they like kind of like, oh my God, they don't want to punch the director, right? And I'd be like, hey, please don't fight. If you fight, then I'll have to kick you out, and then you won't get dosed today, and you'll be in withdrawal, and that would be terrible. So let's not fight. Right? And then they would stop. And that has never not worked. Probably happened 20 times in 6 years, right? It's never not worked. And that's how you should treat your mind, right? When your mind's like, I suck, you should be like, hey, stop talking about me that way. If you do that, I'm going to be depressed. And if you feel depressed, that's okay too. But then go there. Like really go there. Really go there. Where's there? Go there. What are you avoiding? What story are you telling? It's time for the story of you to end. Your life doesn't end when the story ends, it begins. Right? When the story ends, you become free to be who you need to be moment by moment. That is profound. And then miracles happen. Yeah. We don't know what's going to happen. And so we just open our eyes and we just walk forward and we just, we turn the page and we work on the next koan. That's every day. Go on to the next one. Just go on to the next one. Oh, I got that one wrong. I mean, when you guys don't pass a koan, you don't quit. Right? You just try it again. Okay. Thank you.